everybody, and welcome to another episode of Movies with Giros. Sorry that I missed last week. Took a little week off. Part of it was because I was having issues locking down a guest. Part of it was because I got a little lazy. Regardless, we're back. I'm so glad you're still here. It's funny, I actually was just showing my podcast to somebody new, and they asked me, "Hey, when do you upload?" And I said, "Oh, I upload on Wednesdays." And this conversation happened on a Tuesday. He goes, "Oh, I look forward to seeing your episode tomorrow." And I skipped that week. So sorry, guy whose name I can't remember. This week, we're going to be talking about the Spy Kids Trilogy with my good friend Steve. Sorry that the camera's shaking a little bit. I'm using a handheld just for this intro. But anyway, I already recorded it. I think it went really well. If you've watched these movies as a child, I recommend revisiting them. I have a lot of nostalgia baked into them, and so I thought it'd be kind of fun to revisit them. It's always interesting to go back and watch kids movies that you haven't seen in years. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned to the end to find out what's going on next week, and go ahead and leave a like or follow wherever you're watching this or listening. All right, I'm gonna go get my buddy Steve on the line so we can talk about the Spy Kids trilogy. All right, I've got Steve on the phone. We have a very, very special topic for this week's podcast. Um, Before we dive into it, I like to ask every guest two questions. My first question is, when was the time that you at what age or what period in your life did you start watching movies a little bit more critically? When did you kind of pick it up as more of a hobby? Yes,
Um,
yeah. I mean, like, when did I know that you're really into Marvel and that sort of thing. I mean, do you attribute your love for comic books to is that maybe why you watch more movies? I mean, I don't know.
I wouldn't address that to it. That comes more because the X-Men have shitty movies. I don't like those movies. I just think
Yeah,
the comic movies are fun.
I think
But
we can agree on that.
judging movies critically has been more of a recent thing. Because I
Okay.
mean, before the past couple of years, I've seen a movie and I'm like, oh, that looks fun. Went to go see it in theaters. I'm like, cool, that was fun. That was
Okay.
about the end of it.
Yeah, sure.
Until we actually started like sitting down and watching some weird fucking movies and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
seeing how it all plays out.
Yeah, once you start watching like the really weird stuff and
Once you start watching the weird stuff,
I still got to watch Border.
oh, you gotta watch Border. That
Yeah.
might have been the start for me.
Okay. And have you always been I know some people that just don't watch movies at all. I mean, have you always been someone that goes to theaters and sees the newest thing, or is it just kind of like whatever to you?
Uh, yeah, sometimes there wasn't much to do in my hometown, so that was like one of the things we could do is go to the movies. But
That
other
was
than
one
that,
of
I
the
wouldn't really.
things.
Yeah, there weren't many things. Uh, so it was like go to the movies, go to someone's house. Those are kind of the
Okay.
options.
I think people can relate to that. Second question, besides the wonderful Spy Kids films we just watched, what's a movie that you've seen recently that you've really enjoyed? It doesn't have to be a new movie. It
That I
can
really
be,
enjoyed.
but just something in the last week or two that you've watched, or maybe the last month that you really stood out for you.
Let me take a little peek at my letterbox.
Yeah, no
Uh,
problem.
I got a couple. I also watched Shark Boy and Lava Girl in preparation, and
Yeah,
that was a treat. That was something. That was
yeah, we
something.
we can talk about that at the end.
And then Parasite. I don't
Was
want
that your
that
first time
Oscar.
seeing that?
Uh, no, I saw it before the Oscars, but I haven't watched a lot of movies recently.
That's fair.
Parasite, Birds of Prey.
Braids
I
of
thought that was
Purd.
a lot better than I expected it to be. It was more of a good movie than just another superhero movie.
I'd like to
And
see that.
yeah, it was. I was a fan.
I
Uh,
definitely have that on my list higher than Sonic, but I don't know if that's really saying a
yeah,
whole lot.
Sonic's just like a little bit lower than Cats because I want to experience what the fuck Cats is at some point.
I mean, I had some friends that saw Sonic and said it wasn't terrible. Apparently, Jim Carrey's pretty good in it, so I
Yeah,
don't know. Might be worth a watch.
Oh yeah, definitely worth a watch. Just not like a theater go.
Not paying for it.
Nah.
Okay. Well, with that being said, let's dive into the masterpieces that are the Spy Kids trilogy.
Well, one masterpiece.
Dude, these movies are insane. Like okay, have you ever watched something that you haven't seen in years, and as you're watching it, you're constantly remembering that you've already seen it?
Yeah.
This trilogy is like I've had it like I've never had that feeling stronger than when I just rewatched this trilogy.
Oh yeah, definitely. The first one especially was just like, wow, this was my favorite movie for so long as a kid. And then you get into the other two, and personally, it kind of fell off. But that first one,
I
it
mean, yeah, the
was
quality falls off, but I'm just saying like it surprised
just like
me
the
how much
memories.
of it I remembered most of the entire trilogy. Like straight up every scene would come on and I'd be like, yeah, I remember this. Like
See, I I watched one and three like a shit ton as a kid, but two I only ever saw like one time at a friend like a watching that movie.
yeah,
So there
see,
was a lot of stuff going on in that I did not remember.
okay, so I think when I was a kid, I rewatched the second one probably the least amount. But that being said, I still remembered like 95% of it, so I obviously watched it a decent amount. But yeah, I don't know. There's something like so strange about watching something that you've forgotten about for years, and then you rewatch it, and it just like dusts off all these cobwebs.
Yeah,
Um, so the first one, I think we can both agree is probably the best of the trilogy.
definitely. The first one I think actually holds up from when I was a kid, whereas the other two, it's eh. They lean too heavily into the CGI and it doesn't work out well.
Dude, the CGI in all of these movies is so bad.
Yeah, but in the
It's
first one,
so bad.
it's like a couple things at Floop's house, and it's like, oh, it's Floop. It's supposed to look weird, but then they start jumping into the whole world. It
Yeah,
throws
well,
me off.
like I think part of what you're saying too is that like and I saw that you wrote it in your letterbox. The set
Oh yeah,
design
it's a
for all of
list.
these films
Yeah,
are
the
is
set
pretty good.
the set and the props, like especially for all their spy gadgets and whatever, every single one of those, I'm just like, I want that in my life. I want some electric bubble gum and
Yeah,
those weird ass like
they did really
yellow
well.
spinny things they kept using in the second one, but they
Yeah.
never explained.
Yeah. So like yeah, I mean like you said, as the films progress, they use more and more of just green screens.
Yeah.
But in the first one, it's mostly like practical sets. I mean, they built all the Floop hallways and all that stuff. Floop is so weird. Is he that guy that played the Jack Frost or whatever in the Santa Claus films?
I think so.
I
That sounds
recognized
about
him from
right.
something. Um,
Yeah.
but and then you've got Monk as the Tony
Oh yeah.
Shalhoub. Yeah, you've got him as the
Mr. Minion.
dude. Apparently, his name is Fegan Floop. So
Fleek. Oh yeah, because he got deformed.
let's see. This
Spoilers.
guy was in Eyes Wide Shut. I'm looking at Floops. He was in X-Men 2, bro.
Who was he?
Um, I don't know.
One of the few good ones.
His name is Alan Cumming, and
Mm, okay.
he was Nightcrawler.
Wait, really?
He's Nightcrawler in X-Men 2. And
Damn.
I'm
Okay.
assuming in the other X-Men films, I just don't see them listed
Yeah,
here.
probably one and three.
Wow.
Wow. Well, look at
Wow.
that.
It actually only says X-Men 2, so I wonder if he was just Nightcrawler in that
Hmm.
film. Yeah, I don't know. This movie was like fine. I'd say like the first like act of it, the first third of it is like surprisingly good. The whole like showing their family dynamics and
Oh yeah.
throwing them into the world, the spy world, and um it's interesting because Junie is like the most hateable character in this film, and like Carmen is clearly the main character. And then as the films progress, Junie becomes the main character, which is
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
my
weird.
biggest gripe with the third one is I miss
Ye-
Carmen.
yeah, I mean, and even in the second one, like it's almost like they switched the main character to being Junie. you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's all about Junie getting disavowed, and they clearly switch it. I don't know if like in the early 2000s they did research that said that little boys are more likely to be a spy,
I
but
I feel like that was, I mean, that was definitely a big case because you could see a big shift throughout the movies of like not only you got the men taking more of the lead, but the race of the cast goes from entirely Mexican to uh, just slowly
that's
adding in more
true.
and more white people.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's really interesting how different. It's just such a unique film. I mean, like, it's not unique in the sense, like, yes, there are other like weird action movies and stuff, but it's like the
It's
comedy
such its
is
own charming
decent.
world.
Yeah, the comedy's decent. It's got this cool world. It's got all the cool gadgets. Unfortunately, it's produced by two of the Weinstein Bros, but you know,
Oh, look at that. Okay.
R.I.P. So okay, so the beginning is like they're showing off the whole family. Somehow the kids don't understand that their parents are spies, even though there's like the whole story. I was like, really,
Oh yeah, you get the whole love story about them being
yeah,
spies, which
yeah.
like
But it's like
gives
that's
their
not. But oh,
backstory. I
but
thought that
that's
was
you.
nice.
But whatever. Okay.
And then
Um,
you just have, it's just, even from the start, it's just so colorful. Like Junie has all the different colors of fucking uh, band-aids on his hands. Their
yeah,
house is
yeah,
just so like cartoony looking.
yeah. It's really like unique and like it's not American at all. Like going back and rewatching these films, like yes, everyone speaks English, but beyond that, they don't really spend time like in recognizable place. Like, you know what I mean? They're in like South
No,
America
yeah.
or Mexico,
And
or they're
Floop's
never,
castle.
or in Floop's castle. Yeah, like it's so detached from reality. Um, yeah, so the CGI is garbage, and there's so many moments that just make like no sense like at all. Like there's that one scene where they're flying around in the jetpacks and then they just like fly into the clothing shop and like no one
Oh
bats an
yeah, and
eye.
no one reacts. I
Yeah,
thought that was
literally no
hilarious.
one reacts to it at all. I'm like, oh, this is just chill. Like they're just chilling right now.
Yeah, it's just such a, that's the place we're in. No one's gonna care about that stuff.
But dude, watching this movie, it's like everything surrounding Floop is such nightmare fuel that I don't
Oh, it's
understand. I
terrifying.
don't understand how I didn't get nightmares from it as a kid. What is that?
I feel like I had nightmares about like, not the thumb thumbs obviously, but like the fucking flute
Why
demons that are,
obviously the thumb thumbs are
yeah,
still
the
terrifying.
scary ones. Well, yeah, but the thumb thumbs, yeah, I thought they were less scary because I didn't realize they were robots until I watched it this time around, and then I was just like, oh, okay, they're wearing shells. But those
Yeah, why
those
are they
deformed
thumbs if they're
humans,
robots?
for dexterity.
But they established that like they're all thumbs, so they're not. So like why
Yeah,
were why were they designed that way?
there's a point when so the thumb thumbs are getting made, and on the wall there's a little like baby, or not baby thumb, a little teenage thumb graduating high school or college. So clearly they're aging.
All right, man. I don't. I guess they can reproduce. I don't really know. I described Floop as a if you took a mix between Iron Man and Loki and stuck them in a fever dream. That's
Oh,
that's
okay.
because he's got the whole like tech genius creator suave guy, but he's also kind of like he's kind of got like a Loki look to him, you know?
See, I was getting like Willy Wonka,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
instead
yeah.
of candy, it's television.
Yeah, he's definitely got like a Wonka vibe to him too. Yeah. I mean like extravagant, weird, genius.
Yeah.
And dude, like what is with all of the crazy celebrity cameos in this trilogy?
Oh, right. Machete's in it, just as himself, making spy gadgets.
Yeah, which is like that's like the least surprising one. How about at
Yeah,
the
no, you
end
have
of the
Clooney
movie,
as the president.
George Clooney shows up at the end of the movie. Like
He's
what
the
is George
president.
Clooney
I
doing in
mean,
this movie, dude?
and then he takes off the black eye
Yeah.
cover.
Yeah, that like stuff like that, it's like there are moments littered throughout that Spy Kids that are like genuinely well written and like pretty funny, you know?
Yeah.
Like the especially the parents are like super well written, and like the father's really funny, and he's got like
Oh,
this weird complex to him that like he's like insecure but like he's still a badass. Like I don't know, it's like they got a fun thing going. The whole like little fantasy he has of like throwing the bully through the window and all the kids cheer and the kid and his son runs over to him. Like dude, that was hilarious.
Yeah, the family has like a really well written dynamic. They feel like an actual family, not just some kids movie mom and dad
Yeah.
kind of thing going on.
Yeah. And then I didn't realize that, and this kind of falls apart in the later movies, but I never realized that like the name Spy Kids is referring to the robot army, not
Yeah, it's the
them.
robots because they formed the Spy Kids organization after
Right.
this movie.
Right. Which doesn't like super, like, I don't know. They don't really, it's very clear that after the first movie they just took like the parts that worked, and then they're like, all right, well, we don't really need to like, these are kids movies, we don't need to explain every
Yeah,
detail, like we're just running with it, you know what I mean?
and
So
I mean
these are
they
the Spy
definitely
Kids
don't.
now.
They definitely don't just like run over the first movie and keep going with new stuff. They definitely
No.
keep a lot of like, especially the themes and a good chunk of the, I, I guess, world building that's been going on.
Well, I was gonna say, these movies do a surprisingly good job of like, at least the second one. The third one does it a little bit at the end of it, but like the second one does a good job of bringing back stuff from the first movie.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a sequel. Like
Exactly, yeah. They're like
you need to know the
constantly
first one.
referencing like the characters and the gadgets, and like the thumbs are still at the house,
Mm-hmm. Oh
uh
yeah,
and like Floop is still on speed dial, you know. It's a fun, it's very clearly still a sequel, but dude, you can tell from the very, I mean, at least I could. As soon as Spy Kids 2 started, I knew it was a worse movie. I knew
yeah. I mean, yeah. It opens up with that one weird ass company with the spooky looking guy. I forget what they're called, and like they have a whole amusement park going on.
right.
And I mean, I like the whole starting with a spy, like they're in doing the spy stuff, but it should
Doing a
have been a
mission,
lot
sure.
quicker. It should have been a lot quicker paced, not starting with the president's daughter walking around being bratty.
I mean, like, I don't even really care about that. What I just more so meant is like, in the first movie, the really trashy dialogue lines were like a little bit more stretched out. Like, there are still
Mm-hmm.
plenty of them where it's like Carmen will look at the camera and be like, "Let's do it," you know, like some super
Yeah,
cheesy.
yeah, they were definitely pushing
But
a
in the
lot quicker
second
with that.
movie, yeah, dude, in the second movie, it's like right off the bat, it's like terrible green screens and terrible dialogue, and it's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
we're just leaning completely into this garbage trash dialogue. And
And
then
then
and then like I said, what's his face is like the main character now. Like right off the bat, like he's the one talking, you know, the daughter down. And
yeah, he's so much more in charge when Carmen did kind of all the work in the first
yeah,
one.
yeah, what's up with that? Why did Junie just like take the spotlight?
And then they introduced what is it, Gary and Gertie, I think. The two
Something like
white
that.
kids that I hate the entire movie. They're nothing but irritating.
Well, I mean, to be fair though, like the chick doesn't really ever do anything wrong.
Well, no, that's true. She does turn
She's a
good
pretty
by the
neutral
end.
character, to be honest. And the only time she really gets angry is when she ends up in the desert neck deep in camel shit, which is like, that's
Yeah,
understandable. You know, like it's pretty understandable to be upset about that.
but still,
It's
the
really the
whole
brother.
well, it's not. It's their whole vibe of just them being there when it could have been so much more focused on Carmen and Judy and their parents instead of it. The second movie introduced a lot of characters that I didn't think needed to be there.
See, like I didn't have that same problem. I saw you wrote that in your review, but for me, like I thought it was fine. Like, cause they still at least like have some sort of thematic purpose for it. Like at least they try to, you know, like the whole thing is like,
Yeah,
you know, like
yeah, it's
they
like
have
them
the
coming
better
together.
gadgets, but still Junie and Carmen are the better spies. You know, that's kind
Oh
of
yeah,
like
that
one of
yeah.
the themes I guess they pull through. And then they're stripped of their gadgets. There's actually
I
like,
re- I really like that part. I thought that was a good. You
yeah, that's
start
a
with all the gadgets and then being like, oh, we don't have
strip them
enough
all.
tools,
Yeah,
and then yeah, take them away. That was
it's
a great character beats, plot beat.
yeah, that's a good plot beat. It's a good way to change things up. And then like we talked about cameos, like Steve Buscemi.
Oh yeah, he's great. I wish he was in it more. He feels like he's only in it to explain why there's monsters there,
Yeah.
and then he doesn't. He just kind of hides away for the rest of it until the end.
Yeah, to be fair, the second and the third movie I watched on like 1.25 speed.
Oof.
Just to honestly, I'd highly recommend it because you can't even tell the difference, like straight up. Because these movies are just not like, they're significantly worse.
Yeah,
There,
the first one I think is a genuinely good and fun movie. Like I'd go back and watch that again just for the fun of it.
but
But
I'd also
two
say
and
that
three,
like the first one has a little bit more of like a real story, whereas the
yeah,
second and the third are more so just like, let's go do this wacky thing, and then let's go
yeah,
do
like
this wacky thing.
the just go find this magic disc that obliterates people, and the whole movie I had really no idea what that disc was, other than powerful item they need to get.
That's the cloaking device.
I think he was hiding his island with. That's right.
Yeah,
Why? How? Why could it laser people to death?
I don't remember.
Okay, but
Um,
it
th- that being said, yes, they just jump from one wacky thing to the next, but that being said, it's still like the second one at least, it's still not like super lazy. Like
oh no,
it's still
yeah,
filmed pretty well for what they could do. It still has interesting ideas. Like you've got like there's that whole scene where like Junie has his little spy bug thing run through the hallway, and like that scene, that sequence is ingrained in my memory of that little guy
yeah,
just running through the hallways to find to spy on them for that mission. Like stuff like that where it's just like just the way it's filmed and the way the camera moves, it's like it's not completely lazy. It's just
no,
it's more of a
it
kids
definitely
movie.
feels yeah, but it definitely feels like there was some heart going into it making a sequel to Spy Kids. I just think they went in ways that I think they could have done. They could have done things better, but it doesn't feel like as much as a let's make a sequel to make money as the third one and probably the fourth one are.
Yeah, and like that's the thing is you can tell. I mean, with any of these films, they are kids movies at the end of the day, so you have to kind of take everything with a grain of salt. It's just it's almost whenever you watch any kids trilogy, especially from the early 2000s, it seems like you can watch the progression of like kids movie that is also accessible to adults that transitions to just straight up kids movie. Like
Yeah.
you watch Toy Story 1, 2, and 3, and it's the exact same thing where it slowly goes from being like, oh, this is a movie that like parents can enjoy too. Same with Shrek, where it's like there's adult humor and there's
Oh yeah, by
thought and
Shrek
care.
4, yeah.
And then as the films progress, like they become more and more of just like, okay, what are the things that the kids liked? Let's just focus on that, and the writing doesn't really need to matter.
hmm Like
Um,
a big part of that, which I noticed, my favorite line from both the first and the second is they sneak in a little shit in there by being
yeah,
like, "Oh shit, taki mushrooms," and
yeah.
like the pause is so noticeable
Dude, I
that you
said that
think they
all
say
the time
shit,
as a kid.
and
I think
they
this
don't
movie
have it in
did
the
that.
third one at all. And I just thought that was such like a I don't know such it felt like that little break in between
Dude,
kind
it's
of thing with the
iconic.
adult humor and the kids humor and such a
Yeah,
thing. Like, how do you get away with that?
yeah. Dude, I'm telling you, I swear to God, every single middle school kid was saying that when they saw
Oh
Spy
yeah,
Kids,
without a doubt.
and every parent hated it. I mean, at least my mom did. She's like, "Why are you doing?" But like even in the second movie, like there's still everything surrounding Steve Buscemi's character is really interesting. Like when
Oh
they
yeah, that was
like
like
how about when they jump in
its
that
own
volcano and they're
philosophical
just
side
falling?
point.
They're just falling for like 4
Yeah,
hours.
like yeah, there's still like that charm from the first one, definitely.
But dude, it's
And
like
like when they're fighting the what is it, the spider monkey versus the
oh yeah.
Slizzard,
Yeah.
and Carmen just swings it on a vine and kicks the Slizzard in the face, and that was so fucking funny.
Yeah, I mean
And
like
then all
these
the
movies are still
skeletons are like
badass.
sitting in the stands. Like
Oh
the humor is
yeah,
just
yeah, and they're like cheering
consistent.
them on.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like they really are like fun badass movies sometimes.
Yeah, I do wish they had better fights because I remember in the first one, especially, there would be a point when it's like, "Oh, a fight's gonna happen," and then it would cut to the people watching
Yeah.
the fight,
Yeah.
and that was kind of a little annoying. But I mean, I understand it. It's a kids
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, but also like the CGI and stuff, like they couldn't afford that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
You can't really show
but dude,
a
it's
bunch of
really
kids.
it is funny watching these movies as an adult and like thinking about the aspects that they just completely breeze over, like the fact that like they do fall in that volcano for like 4 hours, like dude, that should be way more of a deal. You know what
Oh
I mean?
yeah, like
Like they just cut and they're like, oh, we've been here 3 hours. It's like, dude,
it's
that's
like you should be
huge.
freaking out more.
Yeah, you should be passed out. You like, you know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, it was just an illusion. It's like, dude, that's cool. And like the little
Because of
mini
Steve
island with all
Buscemi's
the
science.
Steve Buscemi's got all the mini animals and like he's got the whole backstory and
But they get big.
yeah, and
Spilled
he's
the big juice.
yeah, he spilled the big juice, bro. And like, how about when they fall down and Steve Buscemi's just hiding behind that pillar, like
Yeah,
he's just crouching there. It's like, bro, you didn't even have to be in the room.
every scene with him was fantastic.
And he's got that weird little line of like, do you think God stays in heaven for fear of
Oh
what he
yeah,
created here on earth?
like
It's
the
like,
most iconic line
bro,
from this movie.
bro, what are you talking about? Man,
Oh,
dude,
and then you
he's
get
built the big
uh,
juice, huh?
you get to the end, and another thing I just love about these movies is there's always like it's like an after credit scene, but it's scene, and then there's the bloopers. And with
Yes.
this one, it's Carmen, like she's pretending to be a pop star because of the gadgets,
Yeah,
and
what
there's
it
just like a whole
what
musical
was
number.
that?
But then the gadget wasn't working, and it was just her.
Yeah,
Like I
what
just love that shit. It's so stupid, but like, ooh, another mission.
unreal, man, that they just like throw that in for literally no reason.
It makes me really wish we got a Spy Kids show with these characters. Like if they do it now, there's no way it would be good.
I mean, I
But
feel like
like back then,
dude, you just can't make a
you couldn't
TV
afford
show.
it.
You can't make, I mean, but you just, every time they try to make a TV show off a movie, it's never good.
Yeah, but I mean, if they were making shows like they are today, but just back when Spy Kids came out, I feel like it could have worked. Just episodic spy adventures.
I mean, yeah, and like I said, the gadgets, man, like so many of these things like stuck in my mind. Like I remember the gum. I remember like a lot of those gadgets from the first one are the ones that stick out to me because they don't introduce
Hmm.
a whole lot of new gadgets in the second movie.
And yeah, a lot of them they just show and don't really explain. Like
Yeah,
those spinny yellow things. That's just what everyone has
yeah,
them.
and they got like the rocket boots in the second one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just Machete's whole warehouse.
But I remember in the microwave from the first movie with the food where you just put the little packet in and it turns into a meal. It's like, bro,
Yeah. Oh yeah. The lunch boxes.
literally everyone's
Oh, those
dream.
were so cool. And then the inflate a suit when they just float to the top.
Man, I'm just like, and then the third movie came around and it was
Oh yeah, the
just
third one.
Spy Kids
I
3 is rough.
I loved Spy Kids 3 when it came out. Like
Me
that was my
too.
favorite movie. I
And
had it on DVD with the glasses.
I think it was just because it was 3D.
And like rewatching it, I whipped my switch out. I just couldn't care enough to pay attention. It's so pointless. All of the characters are only there to push Junie to the next plot point, which is just the
Exactly, yeah.
next mission on his CGI fighting adventure. When they're all like introducing themselves, being like, "Oh, I have the brain, I have the brawn." The girl character, who I don't even know if she got a name, she says, "I have the intuition," because the only defining feature about her is that she's the girl character.
Yeah. I remember I had a crush on her when I was a kid.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I had a crush on her. I had a crush on the tall kid that ends up being the nerdy one at the end. And then the what is it? The not the dude, the guy.
Elijah Wood
Yeah,
again with the cameos, man. You got
it's great.
Rocky Balboa, dude. Like,
Oh my God, yeah.
what is
You
with
got
these
4 Rocky
crazy
Balboas.
cast characters?
Oh, see, I feel like that's what makes it worth it. Just rewatching it, is seeing all these actors just do such weird roles.
Dude, I will say though, the intro to Spy Kids 3 where Junie is a
Oh my
detective,
God, that was
I
great.
could see I would love to watch an entire
If the
movie
whole
of just
thing was like all
that.
film noir.
Bro, the
I wish the
first
beginning was black and white.
dude,
I thought
the
that would have been a lot
first
better.
thing is
But it was
is
so
he's
cool.
investigating the water park and he's like, there's no water because it's shut down. And they don't put the water here and she's like, who's they? He's like, the people in control, the people at the top. And I'm like, bro, this is
The
next
people people that really
level.
control the water park. Yeah.
The
Yeah, in the
next
beginning,
level satire, and he's screaming at the cell phone like, "I don't work for you no more," like, and it's all noir and shit. Like, dude, next
like,
level.
it was honestly pretty great before he went into the
I'm
game.
telling you, man. Like, again though, like, he's the main character, but like, dude, if they did a whole fucking satirical noir film starring Junie, I would watch the
That'd
shit
be
out of that.
great.
And then it just
But
turns into
then,
like Ready Player One.
yeah, they get into the game and it's Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Like it's just so boring and pointless. It's
When
and
did
the CGI, it looks like fucking Toontown Online. It's so bad.
yeah,
It
the
feels like the CGI gets worse like throughout these movies somehow,
when did
or more.
Ready
I guess
Player
they're more
One come
noticeable.
out? The book didn't come out till 2011,
Oh,
so they did it first.
yeah, I read that book in
They did it
school, I
8 years
think.
but like Ready Player One, it's kind of it's a similar story where it's like you got to get to this level and you'll be rich, and it's this virtual reality game.
Oh, true. Yeah.
That's like kind of
See,
it's like the basic premise, the bottom line premise for Ready Player One.
I
I
kept
was,
thinking Sword Out Online because you're trapped in the game, and if you die in the game, you die in real life.
but I don't think you die in real life. You just get kicked from the game. It's just permadeath.
Dude. Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
wasn't paying attention much at this point.
No, I think they say it. I think they said that I think that if you beat level 5, they want to imprison
Yeah, they
all the
imprison
kids.
you.
Dude, the worst part about Spy Kids 3 is that it's lacking something that the other two films did really well, and that's like the villain and the villain's intentions. Like,
Yeah.
in this movie, you've got those little breakaway scenes where he's like talking to his alter egos, but even he doesn't understand what his own intentions are.
No, and by the end, it's just like, okay, he was Grandpa's enemy
Yeah, and he's just like, "Okay,
because,
I forgive you," and then that's it.
yeah, it's not really explained.
There's
I
no there's no motive, there's no clear plan. Like, it's very clear they just Junie is going from thing to thing like an amusement. Like
Yeah,
I've
to
talked about
save his sister.
to save his sister, kind of, and also I guess to
Yeah,
save the world.
but it's just like it's an amusement park movie. Like
Well,
it's
that
fun.
yeah.
I guess.
Well, like I was saying, like I've talked about in the past how there are certain horror movies that are like haunted house horror movies where the
Mm-hmm.
plot doesn't really matter and the action sequences don't tie into the plot or the scary moments. It's just like, let's look at this scary thing and then this scary thing and then this scary
Yeah,
thing. This is like the action version of that. And I mean, other films do it too, like Fast and the Furious and stuff, which actually this series is very similar to Fast and the Furious, where it's got like this,
where it
like,
has a plot and slowly loses it.
it's got a Hispanic undertones, it's got ridiculous action that is loosely explained, and then they pretend that it's about family.
Yeah, by this point, like at the end, they're like, everyone's my family. It's like,
Right, and
okay,
it's like,
so
exactly,
family
bro.
means nothing because everyone's your family.
Yeah,
It
it's
it
the same
just
with the Fast and the Furious
shoehorned me.
films,
Yeah,
where it's like it's about family, but it's like it's just an action movie.
I will say Spy Kids 3 had really good costumes. I did like
Sure.
all the they were wearing. I thought those looked good.
But like, dude, look, I'm even watching this clip right now of like when they're in the like there's like the scientific lab or whatever, and they've got like those cool like hexagon desks attached to the walls and stuff, and it's like,
Yeah,
again, dude, the set design is just so well thought out, but 99% of this movie is filmed in front of a green screen.
yeah. They get in the game world and it just looks shitty. Like it doesn't look good.
They're just in front of a green screen, bro. But again, like, we loved this movie as kids because the 3D was so dope.
Oh yeah, but like I mean, honestly, I feel like if I had 3D glasses and I was watching it in 3D, it would be better because all those moments where stuff's just flying out at you,
Oh
it
yeah,
just
dude.
looks
Like, as soon
bad.
as you
It
get
just
into
looks
the
bad
world,
when
it's
you're not
like
wearing them.
it's like, especially at the very beginning when he first gets into the world, it's so like, let's just show you our 3D stuff.
Yeah, like yeah, that's why it's Boy and Lava Girl to me. But that Shark Boy and Lava Girl did it worse. And
Man, what
Carmen
a
is
weird
just
movie.
not in this one whatsoever.
Oh
And
yeah.
she's especially out of the main two. Like I like them both, but I liked their dynamic, and that was just gone.
Yeah, no, it's completely gone. It's literally just Junie doing things reluctantly, like, you know,
You know, hanging out with four characters that are only distinct for their suit
yeah,
and their
just
height.
some other dudes, and then like the one throwaway girl character who turns out to not even be real.
Yeah, she's a fucking robot by the
She's a
end.
bot, dude. How about
The
dude?
original.
Yeah, when you fall in love with a girl and she turns out to be a bot.
Yeah,
Yikes.
original e-girl.
I remember I still remember like moments from this film, but honestly, not as many. Like I feel like because the story is worse in this film, there's a lot of it that I just kind of didn't care as much about. Like, how about when when the toy maker or whatever gives Junie the extra lives, and then Junie immediately gives those lives to the chick, and then the chick sacrifices herself and just dies.
Yeah,
It's like, why
like
are we going through all of these steps to just achieve no difference?
the only really standout scenes that I remembered were like the robot fight, which I
The
thought was
robot
still pretty
fight,
fun.
yeah,
And then the stuff about him and his grandpa and his grandpa's legs, I thought up until
yeah.
the end that was a pretty good story. But then at the end, it's just I don't know. It feels like because he's like, oh, Junie still loved me even though my legs won't work in the real world. It's like,
Yeah,
dude, why wouldn't he?
yeah, yeah, exactly, man.
Like he's been loving you.
Also, it's
And
just
then
weird. Also, like the parents are completely eliminated from this film.
yeah, and they were great. And
There's
like
no family element in this
Grandpa's
movie.
back, but Grandpa and Grandma in movie two were just annoying the entire time.
I
They were on
almost,
screen for like 2 scenes and only there for the theme of family.
I was gonna say, I almost wonder if like, I wonder if they shoehorned that like family line. Like, remember, Junie, everyone's your family. I wonder if
Oh
they just
yeah.
threw. I remember if they just like. I wonder if they just threw that into the movie because they knew that there was no family elements in this Spy Kids. Like the sister's gone, the parents are gone. It's just Junie. They've completely
Well,
stripped away the entire family element of this series.
see, I thought they were trying to turn up family thing because at the beginning, Junie is he left the OSS and he kind of left his family in that sense. And then you have all these new characters he's meeting, and by the end, he's like, "Oh, everyone I've met along this journey is my
But he
family." So
doesn't
I
even
thought they
like
were going for
bond with
more
them.
of a. He does in the it's a kids movie, and we saw them. We were told they bond kind of sense, but
No,
yeah,
but
there
like
isn't.
even at the end of the movie when like they're like, oh, this is the real life version of them, and they're like, oh, hi, like I'm this and I'm this, and then like, who are you? And he's Junie
Oh
Cortez,
well,
and then he just like walks away, and it's over. Like there's
I'm
no like
I'm
hug,
talking
there's no camaraderie at all.
not. I'm not talking mostly about those characters because they were garbage. I mean, at the end, that calls him up. He's
Well,
like, let's call everybody.
yeah,
And then
but
it's like
they
all the
just
characters we
yeah
like, plus
they
the cowboy.
but dude, that's what I'm saying. You can't just bring back all of the characters from the previous movies and
Yeah, it
then
was definitely lazy.
it's just that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're gonna make the movie, like, okay, well, we don't want the sister to be in the film, and we don't want the parents to be in the film, and I guess we'll throw the grandpa in there
Mm.
just because, like, he was the cheapest actor to hire for the day or whatever, like that.
Yeah, I thought it was just no one wanted to come back to the project. Everyone thought it was done after two, and
But
that's the vibe I got from this.
I don't understand why they didn't make the characters like. There's no camaraderie between all the guys.
No, they're just telling Judy what to do next.
Yeah,
It's calling
you
in the
feel like
guy.
they're just kind of there, and then even at the end of it, they're like, "Oh, for no reason at all, we've decided that like you're a bad guy now. Like, oh, we don't trust you anymore,
Oh yeah, they
Junie."
introduced the idea of like the deceiver right at the end,
Right at the
and
end, for no
that really felt
reason.
shoehorned.
For no reason.
Introduce that when they introduced the guy, being like, oh, and there's also the deceiver, and
Right.
then have it ambiguous the whole time. But
It's
nope,
it's just
just
strange.
and then the girl character turns out to be the deceiver. Big plot twist.
Yeah, but she didn't do
Oh,
anything
yeah, she didn't
wrong.
even know. Yeah,
How was she the deceiver? I don't understand how
well,
that.
because she was like a program to
Right,
deceive
but
them.
what did she do to deceive them?
That yeah, she just brought them further. It's like she helped them. The
Yeah,
entire
like
time.
how did she? I don't see how she hurt.
Maybe it's all a Westworld story about breaking your programming.
Yeah, dude, maybe that's what they were going. Dude, they set the bones for Ready Player One, for Westworld.
Really just setting up groundwork for years to come, Spy Kids.
And then she helps them at the end.
Yeah, she breaks her programming and it's like, I'm the good guy now, even though I was the good guy the
Because
whole
a guy
time.
got her all hot and bothered, so she broke her
Her
programming.
boyfriend.
Yeah, dude. How about that? She's like,
The scene she comes on,
I'm her
I'm his
girlfriend.
girlfriend. That was hilarious.
And fucking, you got Rocky Balboa out here just wearing a fucking top hat like it's no big deal.
Yeah. 3 just really falls flat with, because like the best thing about the first 2 is all the props and the set and the cool shit, and then 3 is just bad CG. It just, they
It's
had
just
no
bad, dude.
chance to have cool
So
shit.
bad, dude. The CGI. I mean, God, dude, it's
When the
so
frogs are
fucking
jumping
bad.
around,
It's just
it's gross.
everything about it, man. Like all of the fucking sets are just so, and like I get it. For the time, it probably looked whatever. You know, like it probably looked decent for a kid, and it probably was still pretty bad for an adult. But like, it's just it's just such a shame because it's like you cut out the cool sets, you cut out the family dynamic, and you've pretty much just built a film around Junie and 3D action. I mean, like the
Yeah.
father and the mother were like the best parts of the first film.
Yeah, and
And
they're
then
gone to the end.
and it's just the mom's pretty much not in it at all, even in the third one. Like the dad has a couple fun, like he has that one fun
Oh
scene or
yeah, he has
whatever where
that
he
scene. Yeah, the
knocks
mom
away
just
the
comes in
stuff.
and like puts her hand on his shoulder at the
Yeah,
very
she's
end.
just there for like she literally came on set for one day, and I don't even think she has a line. Maybe she says we're family.
Yeah, something like that. Another thing I don't understand is why they introduced so many new characters when they did that in the second one, and they could have just taken like at least one of those kids and had them in the game with him, so there's something to bounce off of, instead of just these new blank slates we know nothing about.
It's a shame, dude, because like I said, the first Spy Kids movie is actually
First Spy Kids is great.
it's fun. I'm not like I still only I know you gave the first one like a 7. I give it like a 6, but I still think it's like if you've seen the first Spy Kids movie as a kid, you'll be like you'll be surprised at how much it holds up today. That 6 out of
Yeah,
10 will probably bump it to a 7 if you have that nostalgia for the film.
like the
And
first one definitely holds up in two just down. The first one still feels like or it's still very.
yeah, I'll be honest, like the first one I threw on last night, and I actually sat through and like watched most of it, like for real. And then like I threw on the second movie and I found myself like checking my phone, getting up. I ended up like doing some other stuff on my computer and like half watching the film. And then like the third movie was the same thing. Like the second and third film I was kind of like doing other stuff while it was playing because it's just so like whatever. It's just like another kind of kids
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah,
But the
by the
first
third
one I
act, it's
sat and
playing video.
watched the whole thing. Like I actually stuck through it.
Yeah, it gets your attention, and it feels like a real movie, and it feels a lot longer than like the what hour and a half runtime is.
And like exactly, dude. Like that's the other thing too. The dude, Spy Kids 1 is an hour and a half long. That's so doable. Like the movie doesn't even have to be that good to watch an hour and a half. That's like a short film.
Yeah,
And then
it
you've
just has
got
to be entertaining.
and then the second film is an hour 40. So you're already pushing people to watch a longer film, which whatever, it's not terrible. And then Spy Kids 3 bumps it back down to an hour and a half. So I don't know. You can whip them all out in a day or two, but the first
Do
one's
you-
really the only one that's like super worth
yeah,
watching.
and huge Spy Kids fan. Watch the. It's fine, but yeah,
Dude, I
the
don't think
first
I
one's
ever
just
saw
good.
Spy Kids 4.
No, I don't want to.
Spy Kids 4, bro. When did this movie come
A
out?
Aromascope
Dude,
4D.
it came out in 2011 and it's got a pregnant mom.
Are any of the original characters back? Because poster.
No, dude, fucking Joel McHale is in this movie. The guy from Community
Yeah.
and Soup. And then the mom is she's someone too. Dude, it's Jessica Alba.
Yeah, Jessica Alba's the mom. According to Google, Carmen, Junie, and Machete all show up again, but I assume it's a cameo.
What is this movie, bro? This looks like Disney Channel. I have a clip pulled up right now, and there's just the way it's filmed looks straight up like a Disney Channel film. I don't know what it is, but something about it. Wow, this is bizarre, man.
Yeah,
It's really interesting watching a modern take on the Spy Kids
it's
films because it
they're
just
dull.
shows you how much it doesn't work when you just turn it into like when you just turn it into an Americanized Disney Channel. Like this is why I wouldn't want it to be a TV show because this is what it would be. It would be like this Americanized, completely
Yeah,
stripped of character and nuance, and it just turns into another garbage whatever. Like this is I'm sure there already is a Disney Channel show that's similar to what this is.
yeah, it does not look good, and they take away all the charm of it by making all the gadgets just crappy CG. You got a dog with what, like a laser gun?
Yeah, like he's got like a robo dog.
I don't.
All right,
I should
let's
have left it alone.
let's talk about the masterpiece that is Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
I I couldn't finish it.
Dude, it's so bad.
It's
It's
so
so
it's not even
unbelievably
it's not even
bad.
enjoyable. There's
It's
signs telling
not
you when to
even.
put the 3D glasses on. There's not, but I don't have 3D glasses. I do. Oh no, I don't. There's nothing. Like even in the beginning, before they go to CG world, just it's not good. I think his journal looked cool. That's a positive thing.
Dude,
Good
that's the
good props
best way to
design on the
describe
journal.
it. The best way to describe it is it's not even enjoyable.
George Lopez is there, just buzzing around with
Again, with the
Modoc.
cast, bro. Like, how do
There's
they
a
get these
there's a
people?
fight on a giant bed at the end with this other kid. First of all, the gay undertones of this movie are like heavy. Like the main character, without a doubt, is gay, and then you got Shark Boy and Lava Girl, and every character in this movie is gay. The final fight's on a giant bed. Like there's a lot of repressed homosexual anger that I
That's
did not feel in the
dude,
Spy
that's
Kids
quite a
movies.
take. Man, you got the freaking Watts George Lopez
Oh my
monstrosity. You've
god,
got
he got
fucking
the fucking
Linus,
dog
bro.
things.
Dude,
Minus
dude,
Linus.
dude, he's so.
Oh my god.
Oh my god,
When
I've
they
never wanted
when
to
they
hit a
eat the
kid.
cookies and one has shark bites and one's burnt.
I've never wanted to
God.
hit a kid more than I've wanted to hit Linus. And you can quote me
He
on
oh
that.
my god, right. It's just there's I'm trying to look at if I can think anything. Yeah, the only good thing I have on my review is that it's
It's
very gay.
it's a better and it's like it's Spy Kids 3 with slightly better CGI, slightly better.
Yeah, but I mean it also has more CGI
Yeah,
and
but it's not as bad. It's really
no,
not.
it's definitely not as bad. It doesn't stand out as much.
Yeah, but man, it is just a terrible movie. It really, dude, I remember I was working at a call center a couple years ago, and for whatever reason, like they were like trying to pick a movie to put on there's like a big projector up front, but obviously like we can't listen to the movie, so what they do is like they put the movie on mute and then they put subtitles on and then they'll play like some soft music like over the speakers because we're talking to people, it's a call center,
Yeah.
and they're like, what movie should we watch? And everyone saw Shark Boy and Lava Girl and we're like, oh, I remember that from when I was a kid, like I love Shark Boy and Lava Girl, so everyone, it's like, put it on, put it on. Dude, watching Shark Boy and Lava Girl with no sound on subtitles is fucking insane. It's so bad, bro. And the dialogue is like the worst part of the movie. So you're just sitting
Oh
there
my god.
reading, like you're reading the script that just nobody cared about. I'm so
It's
heated about this movie. It's so bad.
it's the corniest parts of Spy Kids, but all the time.
It's
And then
so
there's scenes
bad.
where like Shark Boy gets an army of sharks that jump out of the water and help him, or like he's swimming in water to escape the electric eels chasing him. Why doesn't he just run on land?
None of it makes sense ever. Or Lava
What?
Girl is like blasting him with lava to wake him up. It's like,
What?
bro, you just melted the
Why
man's.
does he ever swim if his land speed is the only thing fast enough to get
Oh
Lava
yeah,
Girl to the
right, dude.
volcano in
Yeah,
under
he
a
like
minute? Like
sprinted.
he's as fast as the Flash. Or any chance to swim like a normal human.
None of it
Like are
makes
sharks?
sense.
Do sharks have land speed? Is that a shark superpower I didn't know about?
It's just like stuff like this really does aggravate me because it's like I understand it's a kids movie, so there's going to be less consideration put into it, but it
But like
also
you don't
bothers
need
me
a
that
kids aren't stupid. Like
that's
kids
what
are
I'm
stupid,
saying.
but they're not stupid.
It does bother me that we're just like feeding kids whatever. And this is a clear example of like, let's just feed kids whatever.
Yeah,
You
you can
know?
make good children's entertainment. It doesn't all need to be garbage.
Yeah. Uh,
Like garbage nonsense. Oh, oof. Not a good movie. Not good. I did enjoy how, like, when you're watching it, you see all the kids at the beginning, and then you see them all as their counterparts in his dreams. I thought that was nifty, just being like, oh,
sure.
there's that
Yeah.
character.
I mean, they just
But
needed to reuse their
yeah,
actors.
yeah, yeah. I'm just trying to find something good.
George Lopez. Yeah, man, I remember I just visited you guys on campus and like you guys had this movie on and just straight up we weren't even like it's not even like a
Oh
movie
yeah,
that's
yeah,
like
you were
so
there. No, we didn't
yeah,
finish it.
it's not even so
It's
bad it's good. It's like it's just bad and you just
yeah,
don't I
it's
was like,
not
can we put
enjoyable. It's
on
not
literally
fun.
anything else?
Hey, we put on like a car crash comp afterwards because that's more enjoyable.
Yeah, man. I don't know, dude. I'd say the set design is more, even though it's all CGI, it's at least more thought out in Shark Boy and Lava Girl. You've got the
Yeah, it's
candy
definitely better than
area.
Spy Kids 3.
Yeah, you've got the candy stuff. Excuse me, you've got like, the bad guy layer with all the plugs and
Mm-hmm. You got those little plug hounds.
yeah,
Those were fun.
there's like there's some fun there, I guess, but it's still just it's all the dialogue is just
Young, angry Taylor Lautner.
so bad, man. I'd say Shark Boy and Lava Girl is somehow worse than what's worse, Shark Boy and Lava Girl or Spy Kids 3?
Oh, Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Spy Kids 3 at least has like recognizable character and a fun opening.
So
And
just because it's like calling back to the other stuff, you think it deserves?
yeah, it's better because it's Spy Kids and not Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Just because it has the Spy Kids name.
I don't even know what to give Spy Kids 3, man. Like I
And like
guess
I finished Spy Kids 3. I couldn't get through Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
yeah, that's true. Shark Boy and Lava Girl, I'm gonna have to give like a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, it's out of 1 for me.
All right.
Not many movies are
Yeah,
worse.
the Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl because there's
The Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl 3D.
dude,
Smaller heroes, just as super.
man, Taylor Lautner, huh? And then he went on to just be
And he was Wolf
Twilight
Boy.
guy. Yeah, Wolf Man.
And I
And
don't know if he's done anything since.
he did some like generic teen like young adult action films like
Yeah,
Abduction and Tracers, like stuff you've never seen before. And then he also did Valentine's Day, which just had like 1,000 people
sure.
in it.
Oh, okay, wow.
So I don't know. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
He actually hasn't made a lot, so I've seen 42% of his films because I've seen all the Twilight
Oh,
movies.
wow.
So
Look at you. Big fan.
yeah, dude, and I never even knew. All right, well, I guess that wraps it up. I think I know exactly who your favorite, which movie's your favorite, and
Yes. Yeah. Spy Kids 1, without a doubt.
it pretty much it starts at the best and just steadily declines from there, right? Including Shark Boy and
Yeah.
Lava Girl.
I've heard a lot of people say 2 is the best, and I
I
don't get
disagree.
where that comes from. Like,
Yeah, I'd say maybe like maybe it's a little bit more balanced. I don't know.
I
I
do
think the
like
first
how
is
it
the best.
starts in the spy world, and we don't have like the learning about spies, but that was still a lot of
I
fun in the first
don't.
one.
That was my favorite
Really?
part of the first one. My favorite part was that it was like the whole like they're just a normal family or whatever, and then like the kids are thrown into the spy stuff. Like that was my favorite stuff personally. So it's like
Yeah.
whatever, they are what they are. I wouldn't really recommend watching any of them except for the first one, unless you've seen them as
Yeah.
a kid. Like, I was thinking the other day, if you haven't seen these movies as a kid, would you even like
I'd still recommend the first one.
if you knew like a little kid today, like someone that was like 10 or something, or like not yeah, like let's say 10 years old or whatever. I don't know how old kids are when they watch movies, but if you took like a 10-year-old and you gave them Spy Kids 1, would they just be like, what the fuck is this bullshit? That these
Well,
graphics are terrible?
I definitely not chill. I think you need a certain knowledge of how movies work and how they used to
No,
work
but
compared to
these are
how they do
kids'
now to really
movies.
appreciate it.
But that's what I'm saying. These are kids' movies. So if you gave Spy Kids 1 to a kid, do you think they would just not even care about it at all because it looks so bad?
More kids than not, but like a 70-30 split probably. Just the kids
Yeah.
nowadays, like they're used to just so much more
They're used to like
technologically
Marvel.
advanced
You
stuff.
know what
Like,
I mean?
yeah,
They're used to
exactly.
the MCU.
Like you
Like,
get a movie like Endgame that's just as much green screen as Spy Kids
yeah.
3, but you don't notice it.
Yeah.
Like you can't know it.
Yeah, and like
Not a
movies these
kid, but
days, like action movies and stuff these days, even for the most part, are made like PG-13. You know, like they
yeah,
kind
just
of
to get
like
them in.
they kind of like nerf movies these days to kind of be for kid. Like I feel like a kid could watch any of the Fast and the Furious movies
Yeah.
probably. You know, so it's like, are you really gonna watch Spy Kids?
I
I don't
do
know.
recommend Spy Kids as a great, fun family movie. Like if you're watching it with your whole family, or just a fun movie if you want a fun nonsense movie.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, it's not cinema. It's not gonna.
Yeah.
It's yeah. I don't know what else I can say. It's real fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it's something.
It's enjoyable. What
All
more can
right.
you want from an hour and a half?
Yeah, like I said, it's an hour and a half. Like it's an hour and a half. Like whatever. You can deal with it.
Yeah,
All right. Well, that pretty much wraps it up. Thank you for joining me. I'm really glad that you took the time to actually
of
watch
course.
these
It was
wonderful
great. It was
movies.
great to go back and just see the descent. But
The-
yeah, Spy Kids one was really enjoyable. Thanks for having me. Always good to watch
no
with
problem.
G-Road.
Thanks for joining me. I'll catch you later. All right,
Of
man.
course. I'll talk to you later, buddy. See ya.
Okay. Bye-bye. All right. Well, that's going to wrap up this week's episode of Movies with G Rose. Quite an episode. I mean, Spy Kids, am I right? Let me know in the comments below if you watched these films when you were a kid. When's the last time you've seen them? Are you going to rewatch them? They're not really available on any streaming platforms. I rented them from the library. Go ahead and follow this podcast wherever you're watching or listening: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you are. Go ahead and drop a like or a follow. If you're on Apple Podcasts, leave a review. You don't have to leave a review, but just give me a star or two, maybe five, whatever you want. Next week, I have no idea what we're doing. I want to do a podcast with my friend Pickle, where we would talk about a movie called Coherence. I'm going to try to get that going. It really comes down to if he watches it or not. But again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.